Well, happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to Future Ready Live, where we talk about topics that will help CPAs, CGMAs, accounting and professionals prepare for change and transformation. I'm Barry Payne. I'm Regional Vice President Americas here at AICPA and CIMA. And we have two fantastic guests, awesome leaders destined for some really amazing and great things. What I love about today's LinkedIn Live is it follows a LinkedIn Live that we did last month where we interviewed three CAOs from Hershey, Kyndryl, and Insight about the evolving role of the controller and the CAO. And what's really interesting about these two gentlemen is that they recently piloted a commercial accelerator program designed to really help those CEOs with their transformation efforts. I'd like to welcome Darius. I'd like to welcome Chad. Good afternoon to you both. And let's start off with Chad. Why don't you tell the audience just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Chad Sinkovich. I am the senior accounting manager at a company in Canton, Ohio called Employers Health. And we do group purchasing for pharmacy benefits. I went to undergrad at Muskingum University, graduate school at Youngstown State University, and I'm a proud alumni of the 2024 AICPA Leadership Academy.
Oh, that is awesome. I think you might have something in common with this gentleman, Darius. Darius, good morning. Why don't you introduce yourself, or rather good afternoon to some?
Thanks for having us, Barry. So I'm Darius Hinton. I currently serve as a program manager in the global server operations and their business operations at Google. I'm also a major in the Army Reserve, and I'm currently transitioning from over a decade of active service. And you're right, Chad and I do share a common thread, both graduates of the AICPA Leadership Academy. I'm class of 2022. That experience was a career accelerator in itself.
Oh, no, that's awesome. It is a flagship program for aspiring CPA leaders, and thank you for your commitment to the profession. So let's build on your introductions and your careers to date. So tell me a little bit about what roles or skills or areas of development are important to you both right now. And Darius, given you a speaking, why don't we go to you?
No problem. So right now, as I said, my primary focus is mastering that pivot from the public sector financial management to the commercial tech space. In the Army, I was a financial data analyst and a budget officer. So I managed $1 million appropriations, but it was primarily focused on mission outcomes. Now I'm at Google and I'm shifting that focus to commercial value creation. So the skills that I'm honing right now are really translating that strategic mission focus and that operational discipline that I gained in the military and turning it into strategic business insights that drive profitability in the corporate sector.
That's an amazing pivot, Darius, an amazing experience you can bring to that commercial world. How do you look at it, Chad, in terms of your own skills and areas of development?
Yeah, so what's important to me right now is really what's actually aligned with the future of finance, if you will. So I think me and my team, we're working really hard to go from the traditional, record keeper or bookkeeper view of a CPA to, being strategic and forward thinking, and because we have a Super Bowl coming up, Barry, in case you didn't know, the quarterback of the organization.
I know a bit about that. I'm not going to say at the time of recording who I'm actually going to be supporting, but go Pacific Northwest. That's all I'm going to say. Now, you've both been involved in this pilot commercial accelerator program. I'd like to ask you, when we originally spoke about it, what you thought about it. But for the purpose of the audience, I'd like to just say a few words about what it is. So the Commercial Career Accelerator Program is a program specifically designed for US CPAs to enhance their commercial accounting and finance skills in a corporate environment. So, for example, if you've been transitioning like Darius from one sector to another, if you're looking, Chad, to transform from scorekeeper to kind of value creator, if you're looking to do the things in the article that I mentioned that we'll put on screen as a link, if, for example, you're looking to transition from a public accounting environment into a corporate environment, if, for example, you're looking to hone those more strategic accounting skills, maybe go to commercial finance, FP&A, this is the kind of type of thing that's useful to you. And also in that client accounting service environment where you're looking to develop more strategic value advice to your clients, this will help you there. So its inspiration, the Commercial Accelerator Program, is actually from the curriculum of the CGMA program, the Chartered Global Management Accountant, and individual CPAs can come in at what we call the strategic level of the program, which is the highest level. And what we've been able to do is convert that highest level into a CPE eligible guided program, which includes incredible learning outcomes, obviously entry onto the case study exam, I know we'll talk about that, and a real unrivaled sense of community. So in a space of 3 to 4 months, you're able to get a whole bunch of incredibly relevant skills and also work towards the CGMA, the world's leading commercial accounting and finance designation. So we started to talk, Chad and Darius, didn't we? Kind of like mid-year last year, because you guys started this pilot in the fall. So what did you think, Chad, initially when we kind of talked about this concept with you?
I thought what seemed so exciting and intriguing about the program was the curriculum. And also, as you mentioned, Barry, that it does qualify for CPE, because I do think sometimes it is a little difficult for folks in the corporate finance role to find CPE that was drafted and created specifically for them. So that really got my attention of, wow, not only can I lock in with my state requirements for continuing education, but it can be something that I have or a nugget of information I can bring to our next team meeting.
Oh, that's wonderful. Darius, how about you? We started to speak at the same time, didn't we?
Yes. So as Chad said, I'm ever the learner, and getting a CPE was important for me too. It was actually uncanny timing. I wasn't actually interviewing for my current role at the time, but as I started the program, I ended up starting to interview for my current role while I was studying for the CGMA. So the CGMA Accelerator Program gave me that framework to discuss strategic perspectives from a commercial standpoint with a lot of confidence. I was able to translate my public sector experience into the private sector during those interviews. And that core application of strategic thinking and framing, I think, is synonymous in both sectors. The program really forced me to look beyond analysis from business intelligence reporting or spreadsheets, and it forced you to practice thinking. And more importantly, the biggest thing I got from the program was writing from a strategic viewpoint, considering risk, resource allocation, value creation, and being able to articulate that connection during my interviews was a key differentiator for me with the program and securing my current role.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So this is quite good timing, wasn't it? In terms of, facilitating your transition. Gosh, wow. So
I would try to get CPE.
Oh yeah, that's important as well, isn't it, Chad? Always, yeah, CPE. It's about 25 hours worth of CPE, isn't it? So now you've had time to go through the process, and by the way, just for the record, everyone, they both passed the exam. I think there are 3 really important aspects to the program. There's, first of all, that you can really apply those nuggets of learning in your day-to-day. Secondly, that it prepares you for the exam process, because that's unique in itself. And third, community. And I want to talk about community in a minute, but talk about some of the concepts of the program, Chad, that you were able to apply there at employers.
The first thing that comes to mind is actually, I recall after a session with our instructor, the topic of the day was risk. Enterprise risk. And our instructor showed an example of some risk registers going through the practice as an organization. I just remember briefly after the call ended, or the course or the learning ended, going up to my CFO's office and saying, our instructor said this. I think this would really apply to A, B, and C here, but we really haven't thought about it in that light, have we? So that's a perfect example right there when I said that you walk away with some nuggets of information.
Absolutely. And Darius, I mean, how's it helped you with your early days in your new role?
So for me, the biggest thing was that global view. So practicing that geopolitical, global, high order thinking view of the world, and then defending and evaluating decisions, not just analyzing, like I said earlier. So in the military, you do a little bit of that. You look at the world from a geopolitical lens, but you're primarily focused on military means and mission focus, like I said. program forced me to translate that into business. So evaluating and making recommendations based on how those geopolitical shifts affect corporate decision-making and risk appetite, like Chad mentioned. So those are reviewed in depth in the program, and working in a global company now, I can see them and practice it in the commercial sector on a daily basis.
Yeah, no more global than where you're working now. I did want to just mention the exam. Is I keep on saying to the audience that there is this case study exam. Can you have a go at just describing the exam itself and perhaps the value that you gain from it, Darius, if you don't mind, because it is a really important part of the program.
Yeah. So again, writing. I think it's one thing to think about your evaluation of a situation or a circumstance, but that exam forces you to write and defend and evaluate a decision in a concise manner. That I feel like I didn't practice that enough in the military. A lot of bulletizing and bullet points, but that forcing you to come up with a full argument and defending that argument and having a good evaluation of the situation is something that I got from the program.
And Chad, the case study is based on this fictional company scenario. So how did the world of pharmacy management insurance relate to the world of electric vehicles?
Probably a lot of public discussion. I think that goes on in both industries. However, kind of piggybacking off what Darius said was, not only do you have to go with the strategy, defend the strategy, but I thought something that also was key that our instructor advised us to do was acknowledge the risk or what could go wrong as well. So, keep it, rather than just thinking of one scenario, because most often strategy is not always implemented as easy as it's created. So I think that was really huge as well, to think of other situations, or I think the term would be, maybe the canary in the coal mine if something does go wrong. So the holistic approach, I think, is how I would summarize it.
Yeah, one person said to me the other day that this approach allowed him to tell someone in the business something that they didn't know at a blind spot. And I think that's genuinely a really great compliment in terms of the value we can provide. I'll tell you another bit of value, and you'll know this being, alum of the AICPA Leadership Academy, is we try to do our very best to create a real sense of community of peers. How important was, Darius, that sense of community to you in this pilot?
I thought it was essential and enjoyable. So much like the Leadership Academy, you got a space where we weren't just learning alone. We were talking about the concepts. At times we would share our real world challenges. So I got to see perspectives from those that worked in internal audit. Some CFOs were a part of our cohort, and having that cohort of high performing peers from different areas helped us bounce ideas off of each other for that rigorous material. It made it a little bit easier to get through.
Oh, that's good. Did it help you, Chad?
Yeah, I mean, it was essentially having a group of 25 or 30 more friends that were cheering you on, and you were, returning the favor as well. And then something else that I really enjoy is, I attend some of the AICPA's conferences throughout the year, whether it's been Engaged, Future of Finance Summit. So it's always cool to put in the WhatsApp of, is anyone going to be in Denver or Las Vegas, and then, make a plan to grab a cup of coffee or have a drink in the evening. So
quick public service announcement. So June Engage, 10th year. And the other thing as well is that sense of community is super, super important. We now have which is separate to this, we have the Engage 365 platform that every single member can engage with, excuse the pun. And we have a corporate accounting and finance engagement area too. But no, it was very, very interesting because I know that we kind of had the community running over Christmas, and we were all sending each other the Christmas trees, and it's still going on, by the way, audience, where we're sending snow to each other because, oh my God, is it cold in the United States right now? But as we wrap up this session, I've got two really important questions before I kind of close up. To the audience, what would you say are the key learnings or any takeaways that you've taken so far from this pilot program? Chad, what do you think?
I think that the key takeaways is to approach your strategy with a holistic approach. As you mentioned, Barry, there's blind spots that often we don't think about when we're implementing strategy and ideas. And my other key takeaway is sometimes I think as CPAs, we feel a little isolated or need someone else to pick up the phone and reach out to someone else to run an idea by. And I believe now 30 folks that I know that if I had a question or how to approach something, I would have plenty of feedback in the WhatsApp. So.
Oh, that's special, Darius. That's special. How about you?
And so, two for me, and I said it earlier, but that global view, and then practicing that higher order thinking skill of defending and evaluating decisions, not just analyzing. As a CPA data analyst, tend to spend a lot of time in Power BI reports or BI reports, ERP exports, put together to make a defensible report to send to leadership, but really thinking deeply about what the problem is and being able to translate that into a defensible decision and being able to evaluate that decision is what I gained from the program. And that's what I took away from the program.
That is absolutely awesome. Because I remember when we interviewed the chief accounting officers that I mentioned for our December Journal of Accountancy, they very much typified at a leadership level what you are saying in terms of your own career development and your own skill set, and like transitioning, as you said, Chad, right to that. Well, how can I be more sort of, forward looking? How can I look out of the, the windshield and really prepare the company to address risk or to exploit growth opportunities? I'm going to ask you guys for some advice to end with, but just to round off the conversation, today at LinkedIn Live, we've been talking about a pilot program called the CGMA Commercial Accelerator. These two gentlemen, along with about 35 others, experienced the pilot. I'm delighted that we're going to be scaling the pilot this year. We have classes starting in mid-May, and that will run up for the August case study exam. And then we have another series of classes starting in August, running up to the November exam, which is kind of the timescale that you guys were on last year. If you're interested and you are a US CPA, the best thing to do is reach out to me. I'm Barry Payne, or just stick a little comment in the chat bar and I will send you some details. But last question, any advice you have for anyone who's interested in doing this in 2026? What advice would you have for the audience? And whoever speaks first, speaks first.
I guess I'll step up. So first, do the program, make a commitment and do it. And then it'll force you to lean into strategy. It will go from rote memorization and understanding concepts, and it'll take you to practicing evaluation and judgment skills throughout the program. That mindset of the CGMA, at least what I got, is understanding the why behind the numbers. We've been talking about managing risk, creating value, and strategy. You get that from the program, and it's valuable for me, whether I was a major doing financial management for billion-dollar appropriations in the public sector to my current role as a program manager in tech.
My advice would be, to put in the work and really immerse yourself in the simulation prep and the curriculum, really dive into the virtual company or imaginary company that Barry mentioned earlier. And then also too, maybe sit down with your manager or CFO and explain to them why this is important and what value this experience will bring not only to your career, but to the team's experience as well.
That's a really important point you're both making, is even if members of the audience are thinking about doing this, that's great advice. But for audience members who are indeed chartered global management accountants, it's kind of sitting down and talking about the type of things that are inherent in your skill set that you've learned, or you have access to in terms of member support, that help your businesses chat in the way that you've said in sitting down with your CFO. Gentlemen, that has been absolutely enlightening. You have been an absolute delight to work with over the past few months. And for more on Darius and Chad, do follow them on LinkedIn because they're there. Thank you for joining me today, Tuesday. These LinkedIn Lives happen every other Tuesday. So we've got one on the third Tuesday of February. And that is going to be one that you're not going to miss. So until then, I would say thank you very much, Chad and Darius, for joining me today. And I wish you all a wonderful Tuesday and rest of the week. Goodbye.